Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is episode 20 of Peaked in College, episode 20. It is officially December 31st, 2022. I'm here with my boy Craig Nielsen, and he delivered on his promise to the fans that we would get in 20 episodes before the new year. How do you feel, Craig?
You stole my intro. I was going to say we promised and we delivered.
Yeah, we promised and we delivered. Your boys came through once again. I mean, 20 episodes. When did we start this podcast? Like 2.5 years ago?
Yeah. It was like COVID, right? Like middle of COVID, kind of. A
Yeah,
few
kind
months
of.
in.
Yeah. It really helped me during my residency interviews. They always brought up like, what do you like to do outside of work? And I said, well, me and my good friend from college, we used to have a radio show, and we moved and separated across the country, but our bond remained strong, and we decided to continue the show and turn it into a YouTube/podcast show. So they were like very very impressed with that. So thanks, Craig, for getting me a job.
Yeah. Thanks, David, for keeping me busy and
Yeah.
making me be less productive at work.
Yeah, sorry. That one episode a month is really bogging you down. I know you're always just
So-
sitting at work brainstorming what to talk about too.
Calculating the Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Anyways, so is this
So,
end
yeah.
of like our season one? Is that what we're doing this?
Yeah, I think we're gonna switch over to season two. So I'm
Okay.
looking forward to season two. I think what are the main things you're looking forward to in season two, Craig?
In season two, wow. I think we've hit a little bit more of a rhythm of like what we like to like. We talk about less sports, which I think is good for our listeners. We have a couple core segments, and I'm excited for some new ideas too.
Yeah, we're gonna have to roll in some new ideas. I think the best thing to do for our fans is to keep evolving and keep growing. I think my big goal for next year is getting on some guests too. I think I love the episodes just me and you, but I think we can expand our horizons, bring in some people that we knew from high school or from college,
100%.
and get them on and see what they want to talk about too. Share their stories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have some pretty interesting friends. So way more cool than us.
Yeah, very interesting friends. I think
They're still peaking. We peaked
yeah,
in college. They're still
yeah,
peaking.
yeah. I'm a full believer in multiple peaks in life. So I think we are ascending on our next peak, Craig.
I sure hope so.
So we're gonna
I'm
meet some people.
optimistic. It's New Year's Eve
Yeah,
or New Year's
optimistic.
Day.
Yeah, it is New Year's Eve. When people listen to this, it'll probably be after New Year's Day. So how are you feeling going into New Year's evening, Craig? Are you a big New Year's guy?
I hate New Year's. Like maybe the most overrated holiday in my opinion. Well, that's not completely true because I do like the everyone's kind of home watching football um, aspect. I think that's really fun. That there's just a lot of games. Um, so I like that part. But other than that, like there's all these big parties. I like house parties. Unfortunately, um, that didn't really work out this year. But um, I hate like going out to these like big expensive like hotels or like all you can eat drink things, and Ubers are super expensive. People are drinking and driving, so it's like not safe, and there's always accidents, and that's scary, and that's frustrating. So to put it to summarize my incoherent thoughts, I hate New Year's. How about you, David?
Would you say then, just listening to how you feel about this holiday, that New Year's grinds your gears?
It does grind my gears, yeah.
What do you mean by house parties? Can you define that? Because when you say house parties, I picture like college parties when the floor is sticky, the music's loud.
Yeah.
You're kind of squiggling through people to get to the fridge
Yeah.
for more drinks or what?
So let me paint a picture. And this, if this was my New Year's night, it would be a bright bulb.
Okay.
But this is why I'm a little bitter because this isn't it. But I would love to like have like 10 to 15 friends over. And my apartment right now is pretty small, so that's part of the issue is I can't just like host this dream party. I need someone else to. So it would be like that 10 to 20ish people total, maybe even a few less, but not too much bigger. Everyone brings like a fun like drink or cocktail idea, or like maybe like a crock pot item, like get some buffalo dip, maybe some curly fries. I don't know, you name it. Everyone's kind of snacking. We can have some funny like party hats and like those like to do things that you do on New Year's. And then we'd have some champagne. We'd probably play some drinking games, maybe some board games. Just be kind of chill, hanging out, watching football, socializing, and then do like a ball drop, and then everyone can get home safely.
At 12:01, everyone's out of your house.
Yeah, yeah. No, 12:30, 12:45. That's like my dream, New Year's Eve. But
Yeah,
that's never happened. So,
yeah, that's a good call. What's are you a champagne guy? And is Sophia a champagne lady?
Sophia loves champagne or just sparkling wine in general. I'm pretty neutral. I like some champagne cocktails, but it's tough. Like if you sometimes we'll like open a bottle, but like we're not going to finish a bottle most nights. So like, especially because like I might have one or two glasses, but I don't want that much, and so then like it's just wasted. That's my
Yeah,
issue with champagne.
you can't really like cap it and put it back in the fridge.
No,
You got to just power through it.
yeah. Are
Um,
you
I,
drinking the champagne of beers tonight, or what do you drink?
I thought about that. I thought about getting a case of Miller High Lifes, but I'll probably stop at Hy-Vee, and get a bottle or two of champagne. I do like champagne, but in smaller quantities. I think if I start
Yeah,
just pounding champagne, my acid reflux goes all awry. My stomach starts hurting. It's my head starts pounding, and you can only have so much champagne. I think. Did you ever
yes,
go to in Des Moines when we were at Drake? Did you ever go to Americana?
yes, yep.
Yeah. How many times did you go? Multiple times, by looking by your
Are you
notch?
talking about the like brunch?
Yeah, that brunch place.
I've only been to their brunch once. I went for dinner a couple times.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I went to their brunch once too, and it wasn't until like the end of my. Actually, I might have been out of college. I think it was after Drake. I went back to Des Moines to like hang out with friends, and we reserved a breakfast or brunch at Americana, and that's the first time I've been. I've heard all about it, the all you can drink mimosas, right? So that's the main catch for people that don't know what Americana is. It's the all you can drink bottomless mimosas.
And they
So
have
we
really good
get
food too. Like it's like fancy. Like this isn't like
yeah.
a
No.
shitty restaurant. Like
No.
this is like one of
Yeah.
the nicer restaurants in Des Moines.
Yeah, it's a nice restaurant. Like it's like two stories. We had a table up top. We were going down these big flight of stairs. Well, the main mistake I made is we went out the night before, and I went a little bit too hard. So I went to Americana in the morning very hungover. So I was like, I paid, what was it, like $60 for like the all you can eat buffet and all you can drink mimosas. And I was like struggling through the mimosas. I barely ate any food for the breakfast. So make sure you do not go to Americana hungover. That's a huge, critical mistake for the wallet and for the stomach. So go, on an empty stomach, just ready to drink, ready to eat, ready to party, and you'll have a good time.
Yeah, for sure. I think too with mimosas and stuff, because like no one would ever just like drink like 8 glasses of orange juice and like feel good. And then like you add in like alcohol that's bubbly, like it's a disaster.
Yeah, it's not good for the stomach. What's your go-to? Is orange juice your go-to mixer with champagne for a mimosa?
I'm not a big mimosa guy. I don't know. Like I like a few champagne cocktails, but I agree with you. Like I don't want to probably have more than like 2 glasses of champagne. So if it's a champagne cocktail, like there's some fun holiday ones with like cranberry juice and cranberries and garnishes, or sometimes throw in some vodka or whiskey. With some other mixers, obviously you wouldn't do like cranberry champagne and bourbon. That'd be terrible. But I do like champagne cocktails, but again, like I'm just not a big like I've never been a mimosa guy, or
So
really
that's it.
any all you can drink thing in the morning. Like I'd rather just like drink Natty Light.
So that's the third time that you've mentioned champagne cocktails, and I for one, the only quote unquote champagne cocktail I've ever had is a mimosa. So what other things are you talking about?
All right, let me. I don't want to like misspeak here, so let me look up like famous champagne cocktails.
Yeah, look it up. And while you're doing that, I want to ask you because you mentioned that Natty Light during Drake relays. Did you ever go to West End breakfast?
I did, yeah. I went only 1 year, I think. Yep, I went my senior year, and that was it. How about you?
No, I actually never went. But isn't it like you eat cereal and with beer in it instead of milk or
Yeah,
something?
that's you like bring cereal, but I mean, really, it's just like
Yeah, just
they
drinking
just have
beers.
beer there, and yeah.
Yeah.
But then like some people, they have like bowls and silverware. I think if you want to like do it, but one cool story is I was in a geology class my senior year, second semester. It was not like a joke of a class, but it was pretty easy, and I had a presentation like after that breakfast. Um,
Is that the study of rocks?
yeah, or in like minerals and like the earth, and I guess I don't know what it all encompasses, but it was a super cool class. The professor was awesome. He saw me partying the day before outside. He was with his family, like in Drake neighborhood, like walking his like baby
Oh
out there with
no.
his wife, and I was playing beer diet. It's like, you better be ready tomorrow. I was like, yep. But no, it was a great class, and I was at least responsible at breakfast, and just went more for the ambiance.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like you have to go at least once. I kind of regret not going for sure, but
Would you go
especially
as
if
an
you're a
alumni?
SIG ep, you definitely have to go as a SIG ep.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I don't think I'd go as an alumni either. So I think I'm waving the white flag on West End breakfast.
Okay, fair enough.
Um, yeah, that
Do
was
you have
go ahead.
I was gonna ask if you had any New Year's stories.
Yeah, I got one good New Year's story. This is kind of my favorite New Year's memory that I always, I'll never really forget. But what I did forget is the year that it was. I think it was after my freshman year of college, or during my freshman year of college. So I go back home for New Year's, right? And it's, the first time like everybody's back together, all your buddies from college. You got the winter time off. You're back hanging out back home. We go to this house party in Milwaukee. It's a real
Yep.
dingy, nasty house. We're in the basement, the sticky basement, classic house party vibes. Um, the music's bumping. We're playing beer pong, whatever. I look over, and my buddy Kyle, this one dude, like this random dude who nobody knows at this party. I know everybody at this party except for this one guy. He's like screaming, and then he
Yep.
smacks one of the beer pong cups. It sprays water all over my friend Kyle, who, if you've ever met Kyle, I call him the Vanilla Gorilla. He's this big, beefy, muscular Jack dude, right? Um, so it hits Kyle. The instant this water hits Kyle, you see like him like instantly just like come up with this idea, right? So I'm just like, oh no, he's a man possessed right now. So he goes after this guy, grabs him, body slams him on the concrete in the basement of this random Milwaukee house, right? And like, I think people pulled him off him or something. I don't remember him like wailing on him or anything, but he definitely slammed him down. So then we're like, we got to get out of here. So we like grab my close buddies, we get out of there. My one buddy was the sober driver, so we all pile in his car, his like huge truck thing. We drive to back near our houses, and we go to Applebee's. So it's after midnight at this point. We go to Applebee's. We're sitting there. Going to Applebee's late night used to be the thing around town. You go
Yeah.
get some half price apps. So we go to get some half price apps. We're kind of chilling, just talking about how crazy that was. And then we're just like sitting there. We're like, we should do something, significant tonight. We should keep this party rolling. And one of my buddies is like, we should drive down to Nashville tonight. And
What?
so we all kind of look at each other like, that's crazy, that's crazy, that's crazy. And then we're like, we should do it. So we had our one buddy who was sober and he had the huge truck. So we like asked the waitress, we're like, hey, we were talking about driving down to Nashville tonight. What do you think? And she was like, you should totally go for it. Terrible, terrible influence this lady was, because that's all we needed to push us over the edge was this waitress. So she says you should do it. So we pay our bill. It's probably 1:30 or 2 in the morning at this point already. So we pile into my buddy's truck, and this includes like people were in the trunk of all of this big truck and whatnot. So we're sitting there. My buddy takes off for Nashville. We get to,
How
I
far is
don't
that
know,
from Milwaukee?
like 11 hours. And I guess another piece of the story too is there was a Tennessee Titans football game the next day. So my one buddy bought like, I think there's 8 of us. He bought 8 tickets to the Titans game. So we were committed, dude. We were committed to going to Nashville. So we pile in, we're driving, we get like to Chicago area, and we're all chanting Nashville, Nashville, Nashville. And the driver was getting real nervous. He was like, my parents are gonna be so pissed. We were just gonna like our genius plan was to just wake up in Nashville and call our parents and say, hey, we're in Nashville, by the way. That was such a bad idea. But and so he starts freaking out because it's his car. It's like his parents' car, he's
Yeah.
driving. And we have more than the legal limit of people in the car. Like it could have just been terrible. So he starts panicking, and he actually turns around. So we all already all the way to Chicago, like an hour and a half. We've been in this car. Turn around. It's like now at this point, I don't know, 3:30 in the morning,
Oh
and
my
we're like
God.
Nashville, chanting for him to turn back around towards Nashville. And he's like, I can't, guys, I can't. He's like almost in tears. And then basically we just ended up going home. We got back to Milwaukee at like 5 in the morning, went to bed, laid our heads in the pillow at like 5:30 in the morning, woke up the next day at whatever time. But that's a memory that I'll never forget. I just wish we went full send and committed all the way to Nashville, but it's still a good story, I think.
So yeah, that's amazing. So like you still wish that you would have went.
Oh, 100% wish I would have went. Yeah. My parents would have been so pissed. I feel like, I mean, they're more laid back now, but they were pretty strict back when I was in high school, especially because, I was just 1 year out of high school. So they still felt like, that's our boy that lives under our roof type thing. So I should have probably been smarter in the moment. But when you're with a group of 7 other dudes that are all screaming Nashville, you're balls deep in that idea at that point.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I committed to it. We all committed to it except for the driver, which is the key piece of the puzzle there. So I was just mostly pissed that we got all the way to Chicago, like past Chicago, until he decided that it was a bad idea. Like you couldn't decide in the Applebee's parking lot that it was a bad idea.
Right. That's
So
amazing.
yeah, I'll never really forgive him for that, but I'll never forget that memory.
Yeah, that's a good story. I like it.
Do you have any good New Year stories?
No, I don't think so.
You just hate New Year's with a burning passion.
Yeah. I mean, most years it's like either Sophie and I do like a date night out or it's like some kind of like, small party. Um, so
We're getting to that age where it's not as like a big of a deal anymore, I think.
yeah. And we've been in Florida for a couple of New Year's and those were really fun because we could just walk to a place and they did like a little like, they had like drinks and like a little ball drop thing. So that was actually really fun. Um, but I haven't been I feel like I haven't been out of college for New Year's that much. Well, and New Year's was also weird at college because we were mostly home because Jerry had such a long J term. So we weren't like back on college campus, or most people weren't. Um, so
Yeah, that always sucked too. Is like if we were on campus, you have a guaranteed like plan of something to do. But when you're back home, then you're like scrambling to find something to do because I think we're at this age now, and maybe I'm just saying that because I don't have any plans really tonight. But we're at the age now where like there's no shame in not doing anything. But like when
yeah,
you're in college and you don't do anything for New Year's, you're kind of a loser. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
I was like thinking, shoot, I'm back home. Like I gotta think of something to do. So there's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. My last New Year's, we were actually back home in Wisconsin to like celebrate a late Christmas with my family, and so we went. This was a good way to just start the new year with a bang of 2022. So this was my first memory of this 2022 season. So we go out for New Year's because my buddies want to go out. I'm not a big fan of going out. It's just kind of a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of planning. You got to hope that like there's Ubers available, all that stuff. And my buddies are big as like for like staying out as long as possible. And I get to a point where I'm just like, all right, I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of drunk. I just kind of want to go home. And the later you
yeah.
stay out, the bigger the pain in the ass trying to get home. There's like way
Word.
less
Yep.
Ubers. They're way more expensive. Everyone's trying to leave at the same time.
You're more drunk.
Yeah, you're more drunk. It's like just a terrible combination. So I remember we went out to downtown Milwaukee and my friend Caitlin from Drake, she was there with us and my high school buddies and Jackie and we ended up all getting COVID. So that was a pretty bad way to start the year. I had to miss like
Yeah.
10 days of work. I used all my sick leave because they made me stay away, stay at home. So that was a rough way to start the new year. It was a fun time that night, but then, looking back, you're just like, damn, I had that one coming, It's like I should have known I was gonna get COVID that night.
Yeah. Rip.
Yeah, rip.
Dang.
What did you do? Did you do anything last New Year's? Were you in Florida?
Yeah, we were in Florida. That was really fun, but
So what was the why would you go to Florida every New Year's? What was the occasion?
Sophia's family does Christmas and New Year's, and then they went back after New Year's. This year, though, we split up and did Christmas. I did Christmas up in Minnesota. She did Christmas in Florida, and we came back to Chicago for New Year's. Whereas last year, she came up to Minnesota like before Christmas, went to Florida for Christmas. I stayed in Minnesota for Christmas, and then went to Florida after Christmas. So it was just a lot of travel, a lot of money to do it that way. So, and then too, you just spending like a whole day flying just sucks. Like, especially with all like the Southwest stuff this year, like it's just a big headache. And so I don't know what we'll do next year, but this seemed to work out pretty well.
Yeah, that goes back to our episode like 13 where I said flying sucks. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work. It's a lot more time. But that's really interesting that they go to Florida every year. I feel like that's something my parents would like to start doing. My
Yeah.
dad was getting real grumpy about all the snow and cold weather in Milwaukee area. So, he was complaining, saying we should go down to Florida every year for Christmas. So maybe that'll be a thing that we start to do, but maybe not me. That sounds like kind of tough to get down there.
Yeah. That's a haul from Nebraska.
Because you're just hoping that like you have good weather. Like this year we had the bad weather, and like you said, all the like the flights were canceled or delayed, and it like
Right.
caused total chaos.
And when you're driving, you're like, you can worst case scenario be like, you know what, let's like leave at the break of dawn and like, push everything forward or let's wait till after the snow falls. And like you can kind of move things around. When you buy a flight, you're locked into that ticket. You can't just be like, oh, I want to leave 3 hours earlier.
Yeah, you're locked in. That kind of reminds me of just a story I have of this past week, the holiday season. First I want to ask, how are your holidays, Craig?
They were great. Thank you, David. How about you?
They're great. Yeah, thanks for asking. So you went up to Minnesota, you said, with your family for a few days?
Yeah, I was up there for 8 or 9 days. So a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
family
that's a long
time,
time. Yeah, that's a lot of family time. Would you
a
say
lot of
you're
Christmas
sick of your
stuff.
family by the time you left?
Ooh.
This is a safe
Um,
space. It's only going to be on YouTube and Spotify and
I
Apple
think some of
Podcasts.
my family watches, so I never get sick of my family.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Um, so it's last Monday, right? We're getting ready. We're gonna take off. Our plan is to take off after work on Wednesday to go home last week. So it's Monday. I worked from an 11-hour day from 7:30 in the morning till 6:30 p.m. this day, and
Mm.
Jackie worked a 12-hour day. She had to beat me. She had to top me. She worked, I believe, 8 to 8. Okay, so I get off work at 6:30. I go to the gas station. I get out. I fill my gas tank. I go inside. I grab a slushie. I come out, and my car starts, or my car turns on, but it does not start. And it's like probably 10 degrees, like with the actual temperature, whatever the wind chill was on top of that. So my car will not turn on. I'm like trying everything. I'm looking at the owner's manual. I'm like reading through that, trying to figure out what the problem is. I'm Googling, I'm YouTubing it. And so finally I call my dad because he has a Ford Fusion as well. And I ask him, like, have you seen any of these weird like things that come up on your dash when something goes wrong? He says no, he hasn't seen it before. I'm like, okay, great. So then I look, the closest Ford dealership is like whatever, 5 miles away. I look, they closed in 10 minutes. So I called them. Their service place was closed, but I talked to the front desk lady. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna need to tow this car there because I don't think it's like a normal mechanical issue that I could just take to like a Midas or something. It's like a weird Ford thing that was going on because it was
Yep.
like all these alerts that were popping at me. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I call her. She's like, no problem. Just drop it off. Drop the keys in the drop box. So I'm like, thanks. Then I call AAA and for a tow. So I called AAA for a tow. At that point, it was like, right around 8 o'clock when I called. And then Jackie got to the gas station at like 8:45 or so because she got off work at 8. And so from like 6:45 until like 8:45, I was sitting in the Casey's parking lot, like basically in my car, freezing, like close to freezing. She picks me up at the right time. I get in her car, I warm up, I thaw. Long story short, the tow truck doesn't come until 11:30 p.m.
What?
Yeah, and I was too scared to leave my car. So Jackie was like, we could go home, like we're pretty close to home, and then like they'll usually call you and give you a heads up of like when they're close and we can come back. But my car was like flashing, like the taillights. I'll have to send you a picture, but the taillights were like flashing, like alternating, like it looked like it was short circuiting
It's like
basically. It
possessed. Yeah.
was like possessed. And random things in my car were flashing. I couldn't lock the car, like I couldn't lock or unlock the car. So I was like, I can't just leave my car like this. So we had to like sit there and watch it basically until the tow truck came. Didn't come until 11:30. The guy hooked it up and drove it and dropped it off at the Ford dealership. But that was just a really rough way to start the holiday week, going into the week. And luckily we were planning on taking her car back home anyways. So we ended up just like towed my car to Ford. It's $180 just to diagnose what the problem is. So that pissed me off. But we dropped it off there. They called me when we were back home in Milwaukee. That's a whole nother story of the drive back to Milwaukee. But they had to like replace the battery. They had to clean off some battery cables and replace like some shifting cables or something. So that was 500 total bucks. Kind of
Dang.
rough way to go into the holiday weekend. And then so we took Jackie's car home. It was like that snowy, windy day Wednesday night, and people were telling you not to drive. But Thursday and Friday were supposed to be worse. So I was like,
Yep.
I say we go for it Wednesday, see what happens. It usually takes like 7.5 hours. It took us like 10 hours to get home. We had to go slow with all the snow and the wind. And when we exited, it was like 2:30 in the morning. Exited, her car starts making all these loud noises, and I'm like, oh great, like here we go again, another car problem. So we like start calling around the next day to see who's open. It's the 23rd at this point, so we're scrambling to find somebody that's open. My dad's buddy like has a car place, kind of his buddy. He's like grown to be friends with him. We drop it off there. He looks at it. He ends up like tightening some exhaust shield that came loose, and then that ended up fixing the problem, and he didn't charge us anything. So he was our guardian angel this holiday season.
Wow. Shout out your guardian angel. Also shout out Jackie for sitting with you in the parking lot. Do you even buy her some Casey's pizza at least?
I didn't buy her any Casey's pizza, no. But I offered to buy her some snacks. She didn't want anything, so she was my guardian angel that night for sure. So it was lucky to have her pick me up. I kept being the stubborn person that I am, and I was like, oh, I'll be fine. Like just go home. Just I'll come call you when the tow truck guy's here or something. And she was like, you're gonna freeze out here, you idiot. So she like didn't leave me there, which was good because I wasn't gonna be the one to say please stay and keep me warm, but she knew that she had to. So thank you for her.
Yeah. I can't imagine how cranky you'd be too.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'd be scared about.
I was cranky, but also I knew she was cranky because she just worked 12 hours and like
Yeah.
her car had her battery went out like a week prior to this, maybe 2 weeks ago prior to this. So like she was pissed about that still. And like it was like everything was just hitting us at once. It felt like,
Wow. That is brutal. Lot. Glad that we're going into 2023 with your car fixed.
Yeah, the car's fixed. It drives smooth. Things are working. It starts up just fine recently. So, fingers crossed that no more car problems for a long time. So, Jackie's sister just had like she said, so we celebrated Christmas with her family the week before Christmas, and she like got inside one day and was like, my car kind of feels weird. It's not driving the same. And we're like, oh shit, here we go again. So we look at it for a while. Not really me, but we're looking at it for a while and she ended up Snapchatting me like a couple days ago and said that she picked her car up from the dealership when they made it back to Kansas City. She had to spend $3,000 to fix it.
Wow.
And she just spent like 1,200 like the week prior to that on like general maintenance stuff. So $4,200 in the span of like 2 weeks. So that is a brutal. That's brutal, and that makes me feel better about my $500 bill.
Cars are expensive. That sucks. Wow.
Yeah, cars are very expensive. Do you guys both have a car, or do you share one?
I sold my car, so we just use Sophia's car now. But we try. I mean, we try not to use it. Like we try to get around the city without it. There's a few places we drive to, but like we probably drive once, a little less than once a week, I'd say.
That's not
So
very often, yeah.
no,
I would just think
it's
like
nice.
grocery shopping, or
We walk.
you walk with all your bags?
Yeah, we're like a block away.
I guess, yeah. You probably just look like homeless people.
Best part about yeah, that's normal. The best part about city living.
Yeah, that's true. That is nice. That's a nice perk, and you save money on gas. Gas prices these days are
True.
absurd.
Except gas is super expensive in Chicago, so whatever gas we save or whatever we save on gas, we just spend because it's twice as much.
Yeah, everything's expensive in Chicago, it feels like. Do you enjoy living in Chicago?
I love it. Yeah, it's very cool.
It's about to be 2020. The clock is about to strike 2023. Are you going into next year? Are you feeling like that's going to be a long-term plan for you guys being there?
Yeah, one of our goals for 2023 is to buy a condo. So,
Oh, yeah, that's a permanent
yeah,
move, kind of.
yeah. So I think we love the city. We love all the things to do. We like not having to use our car. We like the people. We like being able to go to concerts and football games and basketball games. And yeah, so for now, I think it's the move.
There's definitely a lot to do. Do you think you'll ever convert over to be a Bears fan?
I think the Bears are going to be like a secondary team of mine. Like I'm a Vikings fan, so like I can never like just straight up be like a Bears fan too. But like I'll root for them against the Lions and the Packers and like some other teams.
Yeah.
And I think Justin Fields is cool.
That's
He's a fun guy to root for.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said probably about the Bears. So thank you. And I'm perfectly happy with that. I feel the same way. If I were to move, to Detroit or to Minneapolis or something, I think I could like be okay cheering for the Vikings and the Lions because they're not playing the Bears. But if I moved to Green Bay, you would never catch me wearing green and gold. You would never catch me rooting for them. No way. No chance in hell.
I am a Bulls fan though. NBA is easier to do that. To like kind of.
NBA is easier. Yeah, and that's East versus West. Like that's
true.
That's even better. Yeah, way easier. What about like the White Sox or the Cubs? You're not a big baseball guy, but
I'm not a big baseball guy, so I'm a casual Cubs fan. That was easy.
Yeah. Have you been to a Cubs game yet?
Yeah, I went to one last year.
I'd like to go. I'd also like to go to one of my ideas for my brother's bachelor party was renting out one of those buildings in like the outfield. You sit on the rooftop and it's like all you can eat, all you can drink for like 120, 150 bucks. And you get like a decent view of the game. But like I said, all you can eat, all you can drink, and you can see the game. So that seems like a pretty cool deal.
Yeah. That looks awesome. I've never done it, but that would be really fun.
It's either that or like you spend like $85 for a nosebleed ticket. So I'm like, it's kind of a no brainer. Like we'll spend way more than that on food and drink in the stadium. Sure. Yeah.
Exactly. So
I don't know. My brother didn't want to do a bachelor party, so maybe that'll be an idea for somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
So what else? What's been new with you since the last episode? It's been a few weeks, 2-3 weeks. So besides the holidays, anything else new with you or Sophia?
Not too much. Just there was a big, I guess, rush with Christmas, trying to get gifts and wrap everything. Feel like I got everything done on time. I went out to Virginia for a work trip, and then after that I was up in Minnesota. So pretty smooth sailing. It was busy, but it was good, I guess.
How was Virginia? How was the weather?
It was cold for Virginia. Like I brought my winter coat, which normally I wouldn't have to do. But it was nice. Yeah, it was still warmer than Chicago, but 30s, 40s. So chilly for there.
I think that's a concept that always sucks too. Is like when you're traveling. Usually, if you're traveling somewhere warm, you don't need a coat when you're there, but you're traveling from a cold place. So you need a coat like when you're traveling.
Yeah.
And it's like now I got to bring this bulky ass coat like on the plane, and then like have to bring it back. Like you just wish you could just leave it at home, but it's like too cold one way that you can't do that. It's like a
Yes.
real problem.
Exactly. What's new
You
with you? Oh,
No, nothing's really new with me, but
okay.
you reminded me of my grinds my gears for this episode. With it being the holiday season, we've been shopping a lot, and selfishly sometimes I just wander and shop for myself a little bit too. I think I'm what people call a shopaholic. I enjoy shopping. I like buying things. So I got to work on that. I think maybe therapy is the answer for me there. But anyways, what grinds my gears about shopping is this new COVID thing with fitting rooms. So I'm going to talk about two different things with fitting rooms. Number one, when you go to a store and the fitting rooms are closed and they claim it's due to COVID, because it just makes no sense to me why you would have to close a fitting room due to COVID. I don't understand why you can't just leave the fitting rooms open, let people like use them, try things on, because it's way harder for me to commit to buy something if I don't know if it fits. And if there's something
Right.
that grinds my gears even more than fitting rooms, it's returning items. I don't like to return shit. So I want to know that it fits. I want to know that I look good in it before I buy it. So I want the fitting rooms to be open. So that's strike number one for a place. Strike number two is when they do have the fitting rooms open, but they have it where like they have an attendant that has to like unlock the doors for you.
Mm.
Oh, I cannot stand that because then you got to wait for this lady who is most likely wandering around the store somewhere. I got to go like tap someone on the shoulder, be like, "Hey, I want to try something out. Can you unlock one of these fitting rooms for me?" And I'm like the only person in the store. I'm like, please just keep these doors unlocked. Like, do the curtains or something that some places do. Like anything, but don't make me sit there and wait for this lady to open this fitting room for me. Okay. And then number two is when you're in the fitting rooms trying things on, and the ladies are like walking around and they're like overly attentive, and they're like banging in your door. They scribble your name on the door. They're banging on the door. They're like, David, does that thing fit? Do you need me to grab you a different pair of jeans? I'm like, lady, just leave me alone, okay? Like, I want to be in peace. I need to like try this on, think about it, do some squats. Like, don't be pounding on the door asking me about sizes where I have to announce to the entire place, yeah, this size that I grabbed is too small. I'm too chubby. Can you please give me a bigger size? Like just that's definitely strike number three on fitting rooms.
What's your favorite retail store then for buying clothes?
Probably Banana Republic.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
And do they?
couple Banana Republic items on right now.
Okay. I like Banana Republic. Are they satisfactory for your fitting room experience?
No, they're not, and that's why I think it brought my attention to the grinds my gears because I also enjoy like thrift shopping. Like going to Goodwill and I
Mhm.
recently started going to like a couple like actual like thrift stores around here because I've only ever been to like Goodwill, Salvation Army, those places, but the chains. But now I've been trying to go to like these like thrift places. So I go there. I like to see if there's like a needle in the haystack type find. And that's what brought my attention to the closed fitting rooms because especially at a place like that, you want to make sure you can try something on and be like, okay, this thing's kind of like a weirder item. It's like a
Yeah.
unique item, or I want to make sure that it fits. And then the fitting rooms are closed for COVID, and I don't really understand that. And then Banana Republic, they're locked, and the attendants either wandering around or pounding on your door asking if something fits. So those are kind of the things that made me think of those.
And
Most
you
of the
don't
places
online shop?
I'm not a big online shopper because I want to make sure something fits.
Okay.
I just bought myself a Chicago Bears jacket. Like those like starter jackets, those like kind of vintage jackets or whatever. I bought one of those, and I've wanted it for months. I wanted to see if like I got it for Christmas. I didn't, so I was like, I'm going to use some Christmas money and buy this for myself. And I have going back and forth for the past couple months about what size to get because I want to wear it like over just a t-shirt, and I also want to wear it like over like a hoodie. So I'm trying to
Mhm.
look at like reviews. Of course, there's like no information on like sizing. There's no reviews on like how things fit. I even emailed this one website and asked them because they had like a model wearing it. He was wearing the jacket, and I emailed them and asked like, "Hey, can you please tell me like the size, like how big this model is and what size he's wearing?" And they answered like, and they were like, "Yeah, this is just a picture that we got off of like Google Images or from like the manufacturer. Like we have no idea what size he's wearing and what size the model is." And I'm like, "Well, that's completely useless." So I finally just took a shot in the dark and bought one, but we'll see what happens when it gets delivered.
Let me blow your mind here, David. Okay. You can always order things. Like let's say you want a pair of jeans from Banana Republic. You can always order 2 sizes, try them on when they get there. If one of them fits, that's awesome. You keep that pair. And then you return the other pair, and it's still only one trip to the store. And you don't have to do any fitting room experience.
Yeah, but Craig, I don't like taking the risk of paying that much up front for items because if I don't, if I,
There's no risk. You're gonna get your money back.
well, what if I'm too lazy to return something? Especially like when you have to mail it back, then I'm definitely super lazy to have to
No,
return.
you can just go to the store, which is what you have to do anyways to shop.
Yeah, no, you're always providing good counter arguments to my complaints, but I'd rather just complain. So
Yeah,
I
that's
think
that's fair.
that method that you mentioned, that's what Jackie does. She likes to buy like multiple sizes of something and then just try it on and then just ship whatever one is not the one that fits. And that's probably the smarter way to online shop, but I'm more of just hey, let's take a risk, see what happens. And it's funny you mentioned that because I actually bought a pair of jeans off Banana Republic and I bought the same exact size of another pair of jeans that I have, but I was looking for
Mhm.
like a different shade, like a light wash. They weren't even close to fitting, Craig. Not even close. So I had to decide if I was going to keep these parachute pants just out of pure laziness, or if I was going to make the return. I ended up making the return. So
Two comments. One, it's good that you're with someone who's a lot smarter than you. Two, might be time to fire up the New Year's resolutions to get in the gym.
yeah, I think it's 100% time to fire up the New Year's resolutions. You're exactly right.
We'll
But
discard them in a month, but
no, here's the problem. Actually, that's funny that you mentioned that. Do you have any two New Year's resolutions other than buying a condo?
not really. Just minor things like
You think you're perfect just how you are?
no, but I think that I mean what is like 80% of New Year's resolutions just stop after like 2 weeks. So yeah, like I'm trying to work out more, but I've been doing that good for like a couple months. So I'm on a right trajectory there and have some like work study goals, but like that's not like anything, that's revelational.
Okay.
How about you?
Um, I think yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that the working out thing because that's part of my New Year's resolution. But I'm gonna make a special twist on my New Year's resolution this year.
Okay.
You mentioned it. Most people, make a New Year's resolution. It lasts like 2 weeks to a month at most. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is start my New Year's resolution on February 1st.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So
What?
because I'm nervous that because my resolution is to get in the gym. Okay. We
Okay.
have a gym. We have a gym with our apartment complex, but it's a drive away. So, I've been super lazy. I've been like being like, oh, I get home from work. I don't want to drive to this gym. But my resolution is to get in the gym. I haven't been in the gym in a long time. I don't feel confident in myself, when I'm butt ass naked in the morning looking at the mirror. So I want to be confident. I want to be smiling at myself in the morning. So my resolution is to get back in the gym. So what I'm gonna do, instead of going on January 1st with all these other idiots that make their New Year's resolution to get in the gym, I'm gonna wait till all the idiots give up on their resolution and then go on February
That's
1st.
smart. That's smart.
Yeah, see?
Jackie probably had that idea.
Chestnut checkers, buddy. Chestnut checkers.
I have a new idea for a segment. Then we'll have to check in every episode to see how you're doing with your February's resolution.
Okay, fine, fine. That'll keep me accountable, I think. That'll help.
Yeah.
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 Um, okay, why don't we get it wrapped up here? I wanted to talk about for our special segment, top three today. I wanted to talk about, the top three things from this past year for you. As we're going in, we had the Christmas episode last episode. This has kind of been a New Year's themed episode this year, a year in review episode, if you may. So I wanted to
Yeah.
see kind of what your top three things is either an event, a weekend, a week, whatever it might be, a memory since the start of 2022.
Yeah. I got my top three here. I'll say
Do you
number
want?
three.
Yeah, do you want to alternate like we always do, or do you
Yeah,
want to
let's
just
alternate.
bang out
Yeah.
all three?
Yeah. Let's do number three.
Okay, you go three.
Alternate.
Okay, you go three.
Okay. So my number three is some people might think this is stupid, but it was actually the Timberwolves NBA season last year. Probably my favorite season I've ever had as a sports fan. I watched a lot of the games, and I just had a blast watching a team like overachieve. And even though they were never had a chance to win the championship, that was like my favorite sports season. And I think it, barring like a Super Bowl or NBA championship, like it probably will be for a long time.
Yeah, that was a fun season for the T Wolves, and winning that playing game was exciting as well. So,
Yeah.
that's a good memory. I'm glad that just shows you that you bleed navy and teal or whatever their colors are. So that's good. Yeah, look at
Got my
that.
new two Timberwolves mug for Christmas.
Big
What's your
big.
number three?
My number three would have to be. I was kind of thinking, it's been a pretty good year. This morning when I was eating breakfast, I was like, huh, Craig and I were going to do kind of a New Year's episode. I should probably think about, this past year. And I was just sitting there kind of blanking. I couldn't really think of like, good things, good memories, good moments. So I went to my photos album, started scrolling through pictures, and I would say my number three for favorite memories of this past year was the weekend that I had some friends visit me in Iowa City. So I already had a significant amount of friends already living in Iowa City. I got very lucky with that. And then I have a close group of friends from Drake that we were in pharmacy school together. Or we were just like friends for a long time, and we still try to get together a couple times a year. And in it was last year, probably close to this time. We They all visited me in Iowa City, so we spent the weekend there. We went to a hockey game. We went out to a couple breweries. Just kind of hung out, played beer die in my apartment, and just had a good time. So that was a great memory. Great to have them there to visit. It was a fun weekend.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's fun to do those weekends as like an adult, like because we don't get to do that every day like we did in college. So it's like just makes them even more fun.
Yeah, it makes it feel more special.
Yeah,
You just go. I
for
think
sure.
as you get older, you grow to appreciate those friends a little bit more. That like will travel, across state lines to come visit you or to be with you or spend time with you. So it was
Yeah,
fun.
that's a good segue into my number two, which is basically the exact same thing. We did my old roommates and I, we did a lock in where we only hung out with each other. We didn't leave the house. So we ordered in all of our food and stuff. And we did drinking games, video games, did some D&D, more drinking games. So that was a really fun weekend in Des Moines. So we called that the Shark Tank lock in. And that was the
Nice.
first time we had all been together since like we graduated. We had like meeting up for like brunch, but like there was other people there. So it was like the first time that it was just like us five in like 2-3 years. So
That was some of your
maybe
Drake
even more than
buddies.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. A little lock-in action. I like when like you force people to be together even longer too. Like when they came and visited me in Iowa City, they were like, "Oh, should we get a hotel?" I was like, "No, let's just all stay at my apartment." More time spent together. Like we'll be a little crammed. Who cares? It's one weekend.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. My number two, then I would have to go with. I couldn't pick between the two, so I'm just gonna clump them into one here. It's gonna be the two bachelor parties that I went to this year. I mentioned my brother. He got married and he didn't want a bachelor party, so he's not in the part of this number two pick here. But
Called
so
out.
my buddy John, he got married this past July, so he had a bachelor party in I think June. Um, and it was like in the middle. They were like two polar opposite bachelor parties too, but they were just a lot of fun. So one was like in the middle of nowhere, Iowa or Illinois, at some like cabin in the woods, kind of in the middle of
Mhm.
nowhere. We were just kind of hanging out, drinking. We went to a casino in the middle of Iowa one night, and that was like an hour away. We grilled out. We ordered takeout. We partied. There's this little pond that we swam in, a few of us. So it was just a really fun weekend. Good to get back together with some guys from college. Then the other bachelor party was in Nashville for Nate Morehouser's bachelor party. So that was a lot of fun too. Kind of polar opposites, in the middle of a big party city. Going out, having a good time at the bars in Nashville, listening to some good country music, and kind of meeting his high school buddies. So that was a fun time too.
That's awesome. Yeah, bachelor parties are great.
Yeah.
It,
And that
fun times with the boys.
the Nashville one was the first bachelor party I've ever been to. So
Okay,
it was a good time.
that's awesome. That
What's
I remember following the Nashville weekend on like Instagram and stuff. It looked pretty fun.
Yeah, I was glad I survived that weekend. It was quite the weekend with those guys. His friends are party animals, so it was just hard to keep up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, I guess I'll go my number one then. I'm tying some things together. I'm just gonna do like celebrating love. So like there was a lot of weddings that we went to. That was super fun. Nate, shout out my sister, shout out Matt Williams, and shout out Rob. So had a lot of weddings this year. They were all a ton of fun, celebrating them and their families, and also just great to like we met up at Nate's and that was super fun. Met your parents, so that was awesome. So many fun things at the weddings, and then continuing that theme. I probably should mention getting engaged. That was the highlight of my year. So shout out Soph for that. That was and we had a lot of friends and family celebrate too. So some pretty incredible weekends in 2022.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you said weddings for like when you were talking about all those weddings, I was like, I hope Craig did not forget Sophia
No,
because
that's
that will be a critical mistake.
no, the weddings were 1B, the getting engaged is 1A.
Nice. Yeah. Good job digging yourself out of that one. So I agree. One of those rare occurrences that we agree on this show. My number one is weddings as well. So, we had Nate's that you mentioned, getting to meet up with you and some other people was really fun. My parents were there. That was a good time. And Nate's just an awesome guy. So celebrating his love
Yeah.
with Eden was a lot of fun. And then my buddy John Opheim, shout out John and Carla. They were friends in Iowa City, friends from Drake that got married. That was a great time. It was good to reconnect with some people from Drake as well. And then number one, I gotta rank it. Number one was my brother's wedding in July. I was the best man, so it was a big deal. He's obviously my best friend, so it was fun to celebrate his love with Brittany, and their wedding night was a lot of fun. So
You're gonna make me cry, David.
yeah, it was a good moment for my family for sure. He did a good job of containing himself and being a good boy all night. So I was proud of him, and it was nice to. I always love big gatherings with family, especially when it's like both sides connected. It's been the first time I've done that really since like my sister graduated high school or my older sister got married, where you can have like both sides of the family come together. It's a good time.
That's awesome. Well, we had a good 2022. I'm excited for 2023. So.
Good 2022. We're gonna make 2023 even better. We'll try to get more episodes posted. Maybe we'll crank out some the whole season 2 in this next year. We'll see what happens.
Do it.
Don't make any
I'm not
promises.
promising though, because yeah, we need to deliver on our promises. So
I
we'll
was
do
gonna
like a half
say
promise.
we're 1 for 1 for promises, so let's just keep that streak alive. But we promise we will post an episode in 2023.
I promise. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a promise for sure. We'll keep up on our Dogecoin. We'll check and see how that's doing for the next episode. I love the hat, by the way. Ham's beer. It's a cool hat.
Thank you. Yeah, shout out Ben Schultz. He got it for me. So
Yeah, it's a nice hat. So I've never had hams. I really need to try hams.
it's the best. It's the best. You really need to. I'll send you some hams.
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I'm really missing out. Okay, everybody, thank you for listening. If you're still tuning in, I appreciate it. Craig, thanks for taking the time to record with me this morning. It's always a lot of fun getting an episode out there for the people. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. Thanks, David.
All right, see you, buddy. Hey, happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas. Hopefully you have a good night turning 2020 through into 2023. So happy New Year.